Hey there, drone fans. Today is another incredibly exciting day here at the shop because I was lucky enough to get my hands on a brand new DJI Mini 5 Pro drone. Now, I know I've talked on the channel quite a bit about the embargo that's in place right now for DJI, where they can't actually import their drones into the United States, and when they released it a few weeks ago, there were none to be had. And I called everywhere. I checked with a lot of distributors in the US, I called all the retailers in the US, nobody had them. So I thought the other day, let me sit down a minute and think about this. I mean, I live close enough to a major city. Let me pick up the phone and call the DJI store and just ask them, hey, if you guys got any Mini 5 Pros? And sure enough, they do. So I got in my car, I drove into the Big Apple, picked up this drone, came home, and I'm gonna open it right in front of you. Now, what this means, I think, is that there are some imports that are getting through because remember, DJI makes their drones in China. They also make them in South Korea. So maybe there's some shipments that are coming in that customs is letting through. I can't explain it, but anyway, I was lucky enough to get one. And anybody out there that's got one that's outside of the United States, you already know how cool this drone is. And one of the reasons I'm so excited to get this up in the air is because for me, the Mini 5 Pro is really the ultimate drone. It combines the mini airframe, which is small and quiet and portable, with a 1-inch sensor, which is normally only found on larger drones like the Air 3S or the Mavic series. So what I've got here is a bit of a hybrid between the mini platform and the mid-size drone platform as far as imaging packages go, and I can't wait to get it up in the air because it's going to give me the best imaging possible in a tiny little package that's not going to make a lot of noise and not annoy people up in the air. Anyway, I'm going to open up the box. I'll do the unboxing in front of you just to show you exactly what's included with the kit. Now, I promise you, I'll have other clips coming where I spend time flying it. I'll put it up on its first flight. I'll capture some footage. I'll show you everything you're ever going to want to know about this particular drone over the next couple of weeks. But for today, I'm just going to do the unboxing. So I'm real excited to get the box open, get it charged, and get it up in the air. All right, let's get going. So there's a tab right here in the back of the box. Now this is the Fly More combination, and it's offered as a drone with a standard controller. I've got the RC2 controller right here, and it also has the smaller batteries. So it's got not the extended batteries, but the regular batteries. And the other thing that's interesting, and I'll try to give you some of the facts and specs about it when I open it, but apparently the Mini 4 Pro and even the Mini 3 Pro batteries work with this. So I thought I don't really need those bigger batteries because I have plenty of those around. All right, so let's open this up. There's a tab right here, which doesn't do a whole lot. Okay, so let me get the slicer out, and I'll open up this, and you can tell that it's still got the cellophane on it. I haven't done anything to open it because I wanted to do that on the channel so you guys can have the fun of watching me open this and enjoy it a little bit until you can get your hands on one of them. All right, so here we go. All right, let's get rid of the cellophane. This is like Christmas, I'm telling you. Every time a new drone shows up, I just get super excited. And with this one, I've been waiting so long for that 1-inch sensor to be on a smaller frame. So here we go. Let's open up the box. All right, so inside there's a carrying case. Let's get that out of the box. Oh man, I'm so excited to see what this thing looks like because I fly all of the DJI products, as you guys know, and the Mini 5 Pro to me is going to be my go-to drone. I can tell already. All right, so we got a really nice cage, pretty typical of DJI. It's got sort of a weatherproof exterior. You can easily wipe this off. There are no exterior pockets that I can see. So let's open up the case. Typical zipper on the top. And here we go. Okay, so to me, it looks a little larger than standard cases for DJI. This looks like an accessory box, so I'll pull that out. This is the RC2. Okay, we're pretty familiar with that. Here's the drone. I'll put that guy down. And here's the charging hub with 2 batteries in it, and there's one in the drone. What else we got? Oh, there's a package, or I should say a pouch up top here. So I'll open that up. What's in there? Uh-oh, desiccant. Make sure you get rid of the desiccant. I always say that on the channel. This stuff looks innocent, but it also looks like a pack of sugar or a pack of salt. You don't want to leave this laying around because you eat this and it's really bad. So always chuck that. All right, so this pouch up top will hold all the accessories, which is, I guess, where I'll start. So let me put the case over to the side. Now, I like the case for a couple of reasons. I always talk about this, but I think a carrying case like this does 2 things for you really quickly. It protects everything, which is really important because it's not crush-proof, but it's definitely padded, so it's not going to allow you to damage anything inside of it. So it protects your gear. The other important thing it does is it organizes your gear. So when you're out flying, you've got the controller, you've got the drone, you've got spare propellers, you've got batteries. You could throw them in a backpack, but you might forget something. But by having a case like this, Everything goes in the case. It's protected. It's organized. So when you're ready to fly on that beautiful Saturday afternoon, you just grab the bag, head out the door, and put the drone up, and you've got everything you need with you. All right, so let's get into the accessories first, and then I'll tear open these boxes, or these bags. All right, here we go. Oh, there's a lot of stuff in there. Boy, there's a lot of stuff in there. Let's see what else we got. All right, that's about it. Oh, there's some stickers in there too, it looks like. Yep, there's some stickers. So it looks like there was room in here for more stuff. So maybe in the other combo there's more stuff included. All right, that's just an empty box at this point. So what do we got here? We got a bunch of propellers. Let's see, looks like 6 propellers. And I'll talk a little bit about those in a minute because one of the things they've changed, in addition to the 1-inch sensor on the new Mini 5 Pro, is they've changed the way the propellers mount. All the other mini drones use a screwdriver and you gotta take the screws out, put the screws back in. With this one, the props change just like the larger drones like the Air 3S and the Mavic series, where you basically push down and twist them and then they lock in on those propeller guys, I should say on the motors. All right, so what's in here? We probably have some manuals, looks like some stickers too, so I'll open this up first. All right, so we got 6 propellers, which means I've got 3 pairs of propellers I can use to change if I lose them, break them, or whatever. All right, so let's get this up. Boy, these bags are unbelievably tough. All right, here we go. Come on, get out of there. Boy, oh boy. I should have cut it. All right, what do we got? We got a sticker here, a bunch of stickers. DJI stickers, kind of nice. Put that over there. We've got some smaller stickers here. I'm not sure what those are for, but I'll have to read into that. Talks about I guess the flight time on the batteries. Then a bunch of manuals. I've got a quick start guide. I've got a Mini Pro safety guide. I've got some basic instructions, and I've got a link to the DJI store if I want to get some of their software. So those are the manuals. I'll read through those later, and I recommend you do the same because even though the drone's a whole lot of fun to fly, and it's really easy, by the way, you want to read through the manual to make sure you get the best value out of the product. All right, in addition to that is a really short, could have made this a little longer, but it looks like about a foot long USB-C to USB-C. What are you going to use this for? Well, you can charge your drone with it, right? Plug it into a charger, plug it into the drone, and charge the batteries. Now, if you get the Fly More combo, which I'm a big fan of, you get this charging dock, which is a way to charge all 3 batteries at the same time, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But it's nice to include that charging cable. And then what's this? Could be filters. Could be filters. Let's see. I don't know. I'm excited. Let's see what's in here. All right. This is always tricky to open. There we go. And I'll open it up and take a look. It's filters. Okay, so there's 3 filters included. So if you're out there flying on sunny days or you're over the water, you've got a lot of reflections or around snow, you're definitely going to want to use ND filters to cut down on some of that light. It just gives you a whole lot more professional look. All right, what else are we going to open? Let's open up the charging dock. This is an intelligent charging dock, which looks very similar to the last generation of dock. Single USB-C connection on the side, a button on the front you can tap to see if the batteries have any charge. Right now they don't. That's one thing DJI does is they ship the batteries, like most companies, where they're in what I'll call zombie mode, where there's a little bit of a charge on them, but you can't tell that until you charge it the first time. So you've got to wake them up the first time you connect them to a charger. And the reason for that is it's dangerous to ship a LiPo battery with a full charge on it because, believe it or not, these little guys are like fiery hand grenades because that LiPo chemistry inside can be combustible if bad things happen. If you puncture the battery, you can have a chemical fire, which would be really bad. It's extremely rare, but shipping them uncharged is a good idea, or at least minimum charge. So when you get it, charge them up fully before you take them out the first time to make sure that you groom the battery for that charging cycle. All right, so you can fit 3 batteries in here. 1, 2, and 3, these are the standard batteries, which, by the way, the 2 flight times on this are 36 minutes and 52 minutes. So they've extended the flight time by just a little bit, which is interesting because the drone's got to be a little bit heavier, having that 1-inch sensor on the front. Plus, it has LiDAR out the front, which helps a lot with crash avoidance in darker situations. So all those things together drink more electrons out of the battery. So I expected the flight times to be about the same, and I would have been fine with that, but they actually extended the flight time. So using the smaller battery keeps the drone under 250 grams, but it limits your flight time limits. It gives you 36 minutes of flight time, which a couple of years ago, that would have been amazing. Nowadays, that's pretty cool. But 52 minutes if you use the extended battery. All right, so there's the charging hub. I'm gonna hold off on the drone for a second because I like to save that for last. That's like dessert. All right, let's get into the charger. I mean, to the controller. Boy, you can tell I'm excited. I can't even organize my thoughts here. All right, here's the RC2. Let's see if anything else has changed. Nope, looks pretty much the same as the last generation. You've got the external antennas. You want to lay those flat. You want to point those at the direction of the drone. Now they are omnidirectional, but having them face the drone sort of regulates that signal downstream, or at least it directs that signal downstream to your drone. Everything else is pretty much the same. Beautiful display in the front, 2 joysticks up here, a lot of controls around the outside, and I'll do a detailed review in this one as well, but pretty much the same. The one thing that has changed is the transmission technology between the controller and the drone. Now they use their own proprietary technology called OcuSync. They've used it for a while. They used to have a technology called Lightbridge back in the Phantom days and the early versions of Mavic, but they've moved to this OcuSync technology, which is Martian technology from a transmission perspective. It actually navigates on the 2.4 and 5.8 gigahertz frequency, but when I say navigate, it isn't a lock frequency, so it's on those 2 bands, but what it's doing is it's constantly handshaking with the drone, and if you get interference around you, because a lot of things fall into that 2.4 and 5.8 gigahertz band, things like microwave ovens, Wi-Fi pop points, a bunch of other communications, so if they're communicating and the drone is talking to the controller and all of a sudden there's noise in that band, it can actually shift frequency. So it's constantly looking for the cleanest frequency to talk to the drone, and that way you get no drop-offs. Now what's changed on that is this one uses the very latest OcuSync 4 Plus, which gives you 30 kilometers of distance between the drone and the controller, which is absolutely incredible. You can't fly that far because obviously in the United States today, we have a visual line of sight requirement, which means you can't fly the drone further than you keep an eye on it, but knowing you've got that incredibly powerful signal means you're not going to have to worry about dropouts if you're out there flying around trees or you're flying behind buildings for a couple of seconds. You're not going to lose connection with the drone, which is super important because so many people fear the fact that they'll put the drone up in the air, they'll fly it a little far away, and all of a sudden the drone gets a mind of its own and starts heading for the horizon and you can't control it. It's not going to happen with this guy. All right, so let's get into the drone because that's why we're all here. Oh boy, this is going to be fun. Nothing makes me happier. Well, a lot of things make me happier, but when I'm talking about technology, nothing makes me happier than opening up a new drone. And I really, really love DJI products, you can tell. All right, here we go. All right, so fundamentally it looks pretty similar to the other minis. I've got a Mini 4 right in the other room. I was flying it today. So I've got a very similar frame for the Mini 4 Pro. One difference I can see right out of the gate is the way that the gimbal guard goes on. I've got the bottom here clips in, it holds the propellers in place, which is really nice, it looks like. And the top has that sort of strap on the back that we used to have on the Mavic 3 Pro. So you unclip that, and then the guide comes off. Now please come off, don't embarrass me. There we go. Pulls right off the front. And there's a little protector in there, so that doesn't stay on there. So I'll chuck that, that's extra. But let's take a look at it. So let me unfold it real quick, gently. Don't break anything, Rick. You haven't gotten it up in the air yet. All right, here we go. Oh man, oh man. There it is. There's the 1-inch sensor. Whoa, look at the size of that. That is impossibly big on a small drone like this. That is absolutely incredible. Oh, there's LiDAR up front too, so you can't see it. I'll show you a close-up of this, but you've got the standard 360-degree obstacle avoidance. So this unit will detect any kind of obstacles in 360 degrees. Effectively, you've got a 360-degree bubble around this thing that if it gets close to something, it's going to pull back and stop. But it also has APAS technology built in, which I've done a lot of clips on with the Mavic 4 Pro, and I'll do some on this one as well. But what APAS does is it's a technology that not only notices objects, but it's looking for holes between those objects, and it knows how big the drone is, so it's actually finding holes in advance when you're flying that it can fit through. So if you fly this in the woods, it's going to find holes that it can dodge trees and move through a really complex environment. That LiDAR is going to help up front, because what LiDAR does, unlike optical sensors, like these binocular sensors here, that LiDAR actually uses laser to actually bounce off of objects, so it's really good in low light. These aren't great in low light, so if you fly it in the afternoon, late afternoon, you got a lot of shadows, it's not going to work that well as far as crash avoidance goes, but that LiDAR is going to help an awful lot. All right, so in addition to that, 1-inch sensor is just so adorable up there. It's just beautiful. I can't wait to get this up in the air and see what the quality of the video looks like with that sensor. Let me take this little clip off on the bottom. There's a pad behind there so that that doesn't bounce around during shipping. Oh boy, that's nice. Oh, one thing I didn't mention too is the camera can actually tilt up. It can tilt this way, so you can go from horizontal up to vertical, which is really nice. So I can do, if I'm doing TikTok videos or I'm doing any kind of Instagram postings, I can go vertical like that and then go back down into landscape mode if I need to. It also tilts up higher than the other drones did. So see how high that goes up? And all the way down, obviously, like that. So there you go. Battery comes out the back, just pulls out like that. And I have to say, I don't have the Mini 4 Pro here in front of me, but to me, it looks a little darker gray than the Mini 4 Pro, so it's a little bit different of a color choice. And let's take a look at the propellers real quick, because I want to see how they come off there. Now, when you're changing your propellers, don't do it in your hand. Make sure you put it down on a surface like this. The arm is down, the support's down. You're going to hold the motor with your fingers, push down on the propellers, and twist the motor. Then the propellers pop off just like that. And to put them on, you find the spot, you lock them in like that, push down and twist the motor, and then they'll stay on there. So just like you do with the bigger drones, you can now do it on your Mini 5 Pro, which is pretty cool. Well, that's pretty much it for the unboxing. And again, you can tell I'm rushing a little bit with this because I want to get this guy up in the air and start capturing some footage with it. We've got a couple of beautiful days coming up, so I'll be outside with a ton of charged batteries, putting this up in the air and capturing a lot of good footage. I'll put some kind of clip together where I do the first flight and show you what the footage looks like in a montage like I like to do with new drones, so make sure you stay tuned to the channel for that one. But for now, what I've got here, and I know it's a pretty rare bird here in the United States, is I've got a Mini 5 Pro, Fly More combination, and again, the improvements to this drone justify it. Now, I know I put a clip up a couple of weeks ago saying you don't need the Mini 5 Pro. Who would buy this drone? What makes sense for this drone? Well, if you're entering the hobby and you haven't flown a drone before, probably start with a different drone. Maybe go with a Mini 4K would be good because it's less expensive. It's got the same airframe, same controls, and that gets you familiar with the hobby. You can fly that for a while, see if you like the hobby. If you do, you can upgrade to this. But if you're flying a drone today, maybe you've got an older Air or an older Mavic product, and you're looking for something smaller, this Mini 5 Pro to me, it's almost the end of the line in what you can do with a mini drone. I mean, what else could I ask for that the Mini 5 Pro doesn't have? It's got a 1-inch sensor. It can fly for 30 kilometers. I can get 36 minutes of flight time with this with the smaller battery and 52 with the longer battery. I've got crash avoidance 360 degrees around the outside of the drone. I've got LiDAR on the front. I've got APAS technology, which again, I can fly it into a wooded area. It's going to dodge trees. It's not going to crash. So everything I need, I've got in this drone in a small airframe that when I put it up, doesn't make a lot of noise. It isn't really visible in the sky. I'm not going to annoy people when I'm flying it. So for me, this is where it ends. This is the best drone that's on the market today for both hobbyists and even professional flyers that need to create some really incredible footage. Anyway, that's all I have for today. Thanks an awful lot for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this unboxing and overview. And until next time, as always, happy flying.